The 2024 NFL offseason exploded with a series of blockbuster moves, trades, and free agent signings that sent shockwaves throughout the league. Teams were vying for talent, hoping to bolster their rosters and make a run for the Super Bowl. The landscape of the NFL was rapidly changing, and fans were on the edge of their seats, eager to see where their favorite players would land. One of the biggest surprises came when Kirk Cousins, a seasoned veteran quarterback, decided to leave the Minnesota Vikings after several years of service. He inked a lucrative 4-year, $180 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons, instantly making them a team to watch in the NFC South. This move signaled a clear intention from the Falcons to compete at the highest level. Atlanta was in desperate need of a reliable and experienced veteran to guide and mentor their promising young stars, such as the exceptionally talented wide receiver Drake London, who was poised for a breakout season, and the dynamic tight end Kyle Pitts, a true game-changer with incredible athleticism and receiving skills, needed a quarterback who could consistently deliver the ball and unlock his full potential. Not to mention the explosive running back Bijan Robinson, a first-round pick with the potential to be a cornerstone of the Falcons' offense for years to come. Cousins, on the other hand, was actively seeking a team that not only valued his skills and experience, but also truly believed in his ability to lead them to victory and compete for championships. He wanted to be in an environment where he felt supported and empowered. The city of Atlanta was buzzing with excitement and anticipation. The arrival of Kirk Cousins was widely seen as the missing piece of the puzzle, the move that would finally elevate the Falcons to the top of the NFC South and make them legitimate contenders in the conference. But just a few weeks later, as the NFL draft approached, the Falcons made a decision that completely blindsided the football world and left everyone scratching their heads. In a stunning move, they selected quarterback Michael Penix Jr. from the University of Washington with the 8th overall pick in the draft. This pick was completely unexpected, especially considering the recent investment in Cousins. Suddenly, the long-term commitment to Cousins, which seemed so solid just weeks before, looked incredibly shaky and uncertain. Questions began to swirl about the Falcons' true intentions and their faith in their newly acquired quarterback. Reports quickly surfaced indicating that Cousins and his agent were completely blindsided by the Penix Jr. pick. They had not been informed or consulted about the possibility of drafting another quarterback so early in the draft. They reportedly felt misled and deceived by the organization, leading to a sense of distrust and uncertainty about the future. The situation raised serious concerns about the communication and transparency within the Falcons' front office. The trust between the quarterback, who was brought in to be the face of the franchise, and the front office, responsible for building a winning team, was fractured and cracked before Cousins had even taken a single snap in a Falcons uniform. Why would a team invest so heavily in a 35-year-old quarterback, giving him a massive contract and entrusting him with the leadership of the offense, only to then turn around and draft his potential replacement almost immediately, raising questions about the long-term vision and strategy of the organization? The perplexing move left fans, analysts, and even Cousins himself utterly confused and bewildered. No one could quite understand the logic behind the Falcons' decision-making process. Instead of creating an environment of stability, confidence, and unwavering support, Atlanta had inadvertently created a tense and awkward quarterback room filled with uncertainty and potential conflict. What was initially hailed as their biggest and most celebrated off-season triumph had quickly transformed into a major question mark, casting a shadow of doubt over the team's future prospects. As the 2024 NFL season began, the Atlanta Falcons found themselves embroiled in more drama and controversy than anyone could have possibly anticipated, setting the stage for a potentially tumultuous and unpredictable year. Signing a quarterback to a $180 million contract is supposed to mean commitment and belief. Cousins left Minnesota for Atlanta, expecting to be the undisputed leader. But drafting Penix Jr. with a top 10 pick shattered that vision. It sent mixed signals: win now, but rebuild soon. Cousins wasn't afraid of competition. He was blindsided by the lack of transparency. He found out about the pick on live TV, undermining his authority before he even started. The front office tried to secure the future but compromised their present. Now, Cousins might always be looking over his shoulder, and Penix faces pressure to be ready. The promise of stability was replaced by confusion and uncertainty. The Falcons tried to have it both ways and risked losing both. Trust, once broken, is hard to repair. In the NFL, trust is everything, especially between a team and its franchise quarterback. Players know football is a business, but they expect honesty about decisions that affect their careers. A reputation for transparency attracts talent. A reputation for blindsiding players drives it away. The quarterback is the face of the franchise he needs to buy into the vision. If he feels misled, it creates a rift that can undermine the whole team. The Cousins situation is a warning. Lack of transparency can cripple a team's culture. Building a winner is about more than talent, it's about trust. Honesty isn't a weakness, it's the foundation of success. Imagine a scenario where Kirk Cousins had a glimpse into the future, a premonition perhaps, that the Atlanta Falcons were secretly planning to draft a quarterback. What if he possessed this knowledge before making his final decision? Armed with that information, he might have reconsidered his options and ultimately decided to stay put in Minnesota. The allure of familiarity and the comfort of a known environment can be powerful motivators. Minnesota offered him something special, a well-established chemistry with star wide receiver Justin Jefferson. That quarterback-wide receiver connection is a rare and valuable commodity in the NFL, a bond that takes time and effort to cultivate. Beyond Jefferson, Cousins had a deep understanding and comfort level within the Vikings' offensive system. He knew the playbook inside and out, he trusted his teammates, and he had a strong rapport with the coaching staff. But let's say Minnesota wasn't an option. If Cousins had hit the open market without the Falcons in the mix, teams like the Las Vegas Raiders would have undoubtedly been eager to jump at the chance to sign him. The Raiders, hungry for a franchise quarterback, could have envisioned Cousins as the missing piece, pairing him with established stars like Davante Adams to create a potent offensive force. Then there's the Denver Broncos. After the Russell Wilson experiment went south, the Broncos were desperate for stability and a reliable presence under center. Denver could have presented Cousins with a fresh start, a chance to revitalize his career in a new environment and prove his doubters wrong. And perhaps most enticingly, he would have been playing under the guidance of Sean Payton, a renowned offensive guru known for his ability to maximize quarterback talent. Cousins' playing style, characterized by his accuracy, decision-making, and pocket presence, seems like a perfect match for Payton's intricate and quarterback-friendly offensive schemes. Even the Pittsburgh Steelers, a franchise steeped in tradition and known for its defensive prowess, might have entered the fray. With their quarterback situation shrouded in uncertainty, the Steelers could have viewed Cousins as a significant and immediate upgrade, a veteran presence capable of leading them back to Super Bowl contention. The ripple effect of Cousins signing with any of these teams would have been enormous. His arrival could have instantly transformed them into legitimate playoff contenders, teams capable of making a deep run in the postseason. One single decision, Cousins' choice of where to play, would have dramatically shifted the balance of power in the highly competitive AFC, creating new rivalries and altering the landscape of the conference for years to come. Or, conversely, his decision to stay in Minnesota could have solidified the Vikings' position as a force to be reckoned with in the NFC, keeping them firmly in the playoff hunt and potentially setting them up for a Super Bowl run. Kirk Cousins' free agency was more than just a player signing. It was a domino waiting to fall, with the potential to trigger a chain reaction that would reshape the entire NFL. The Falcons' bold move to draft a quarterback, knowing Cousins was available, changed not only their own future trajectory, but also had profound and far-reaching effects on the entire league, impacting the strategies and plans of numerous other teams. The what-ifs surrounding Kirk Cousins' free agency are truly endless, painting a vivid picture of alternate timelines and potential scenarios that could have unfolded in the NFL. Imagine Cousins walks away from Atlanta's offer. The Falcons scramble, their offseason plan in ruins. They might chase Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson, or trade for Justin Fields, none a perfect fit. Without a veteran, the draft becomes their only hope. Michael Penix Jr. or J.J. McCarthy would be thrust into the starting role immediately. The narrative shifts. Instead of a succession plan, it's a desperate rebuild. Atlanta's young stars would have to temper expectations. The team would go from division favorites to a patient developmental project. The window for contention would slam shut, at least for now. Cousins' decision would force Atlanta into a painful reset. Sometimes, the move you don't make changes everything. The Falcons' future would look very different. The question that hung over the Minnesota Vikings during the offseason was monumental. What if Kirk Cousins, the veteran quarterback who had become synonymous with the franchise, decided to stay in Minnesota? What if he chose to continue his journey in the purple and gold, leading the team into the future? This single decision held the key to unlocking a myriad of possibilities, both on and off the field. What if he agreed to a short-term contract, a deal laden with incentives that rewarded performance and team success? A contract that showed his commitment, but also protected the team's long-term financial flexibility. This kind of deal would be a testament to his belief in the Vikings' potential and his willingness to bet on himself. The Vikings faithful would erupt in celebration. A collective sigh of relief and a renewed sense of hope would wash over the fan base. The roar of the crowd would be deafening, a testament to the unwavering support for their team and their quarterback. Kevin O'Connell, the offensive mastermind and head coach, would retain his trusted field general, the quarterback he had meticulously game-planned with and built his offensive scheme around. The continuity would be invaluable. Justin Jefferson, the superstar wide receiver, would maintain his connection with a proven passer, ensuring the explosive plays and highlight reel catches would continue to electrify the stadium. Their chemistry was undeniable, a force to be reckoned with, and the Vikings' offense, already a top-tier unit, would remain among the league's elite, a constant threat to opposing defenses. The consistency at the quarterback position would allow the offense to flourish, maximizing its potential. Their draft strategy would undergo a significant transformation. The pressure to find a quarterback early would dissipate, opening up a world of possibilities. The war room discussions would shift, focusing on different needs and opportunities. There would be no urgent need to trade up, sacrificing valuable draft capital to secure a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy. The team could afford to be patient, evaluating talent across all positions. Instead, the Vikings could focus on bolstering their defense, adding playmakers and depth to a unit that needed improvement. A stronger defense would complement the explosive offense, creating a more complete and balanced team. This would lead to a more balanced and well-rounded roster, capable of competing with the best teams in the league. A team built for sustained success, not just a fleeting moment of glory. On the other hand, if Cousins decided to pursue opportunities with another team, seeking a fresh start or a more lucrative contract, the Vikings would be forced to embark on a different path. A path filled with uncertainty and challenges. The Vikings would almost certainly still be in the market for a top rookie quarterback, hoping to find their franchise signal caller of the future. The pressure to find the next great quarterback would be immense, but the narrative surrounding that pursuit would be drastically different. It would be a story of rebuilding, of patience, and of hoping to strike gold with a young, unproven talent. Keeping Cousins would send a clear signal that the Vikings were in win-now mode, committed to competing for a championship in the immediate future. It would be a statement of intent, a declaration that the team believed it had the pieces in place to contend. Moving on from Cousins would signify the start of a new era, a period of transition and uncertainty as the team searched for its next leader. It would be a long-term project, requiring patience and a willingness to endure growing pains. The locker room culture and the team's overall identity would be profoundly affected by this decision. The leadership dynamic would shift, and new voices would need to emerge. The future of the franchise, in many ways, would hinge on this one pivotal decision. It was a crossroads moment, a defining moment that would shape the Vikings' destiny for years to come. Either way, Kirk Cousins' choice would irrevocably shape the Vikings' direction for the foreseeable future, impacting everything from roster construction to coaching strategy. The ramifications would be far-reaching and long-lasting. One man's decision, a single choice made by a quarterback at a critical juncture in his career, would lead to two vastly different futures for the Minnesota Vikings, each with its own set of challenges and opportunities. The possibilities were endless, but the choice was his. The ripple effects of this decision would be felt across the entire NFC North, impacting the competitive landscape and altering the balance of power within the division. The Vikings' rivals would be watching closely, eager to see how the situation unfolded. The very identity of the Minnesota Vikings, a franchise steeped in tradition and known for its resilience, would be rewritten depending on the path chosen. A new chapter would begin, filled with either familiar faces or uncharted territory. The NFL draft is a chain reaction. One move changes everything. If Atlanta doesn't sign Cousins, their draft plans are obvious, and teams like the Broncos or Raiders might trade up for a quarterback. The Vikings could be forced to pay a premium to get their guy. The top 10 could be completely reshuffled, with teams trading picks and altering their timelines. If Cousins stays in Minnesota, the Vikings and Falcons both pass on QBs, letting top prospects slide. Suddenly, A team like the Rams or Seahawks could land a franchise quarterback without moving up. One decision at the top can create chaos, or opportunity, down the board. The draft's balance of power can shift in an instant. Cousins' choice was the first domino. Cousins' decision didn't just affect Atlanta and Minnesota, it reshaped the NFC. With Cousins, the Falcons became NFC South favorites, pressuring rivals to keep up. If he stayed in Minnesota, the Vikings would challenge the Lions, while the NFC South would be wide open. In the AFC, Cousins joining the Raiders or Broncos would make the playoff race even tougher. One player's move can redraw the competitive map for entire divisions. Free agent signings and draft picks ripple across the league. The Cousins saga shows how interconnected the NFL really is. Every move has consequences far beyond one team. The Cousins-Falcons saga is more than a what-if, it's a lesson in how fragile NFL decisions are. For players, it's about finding trust and clarity, not just money. For teams, it's about balancing long-term planning with short-term integrity. Blindsiding your leader can erode the culture you're trying to build. The fallout from broken trust can be worse than missing out on a prospect. Every contract, draft pick, and promise can alter a franchise's destiny. In the NFL, the future is never set in stone.